What up, y'all? We are live. Ooh, now there's nobody. Is there anybody out there? I used to be able to see who was there. What up, Ryan? It's weird that I can't go in and see everybody that is currently watching. What's up, everybody? You guys give me a little shout out so I know who is there. For some reason, I can't see everybody that is popping up. There's like 5 of y'all right now. We'll let a few more kind of come in. Howdy, Jim. I'm doing good, man. Just got off the river today. I did some hog hunting, a little bit of filming. It was a good day. It was hot, super hot. Yeah. Hope you guys are having a good weekend. I got a bunch of stuff to go over. What's up, George? Give you guys a little itinerary. I'm going to do some shout outs. And then I'm going to do the unboxing of the Bugle tube. And then I've got some key points that I want to go over with you guys before we get into the questions and answers. So I'm going to go ahead and start. I think it's just after 8 o'clock. Thank you guys, everybody that's tuning into this right now. I really appreciate it. All of y'all's support is just huge. It's getting to the point, y'all, to where I can't give shout outs on every video just because the amount of comments that I'm getting on all the videos are just piling up. And so I'm still gonna try to give shout outs here and there, but it's not gonna be like it was before where I was, giving shout outs every video. So I'm gonna give this shout outs real quick. These are new and old subscribers, everybody that has commented in like the past week and a half, roughly. So I'm gonna start off with Charlie Newberry, Michael, Ryan's son from Kansas. I don't know, I can't remember y'all's last name. Ryan, it was on the check that you sent for the hat. Anyways, Michael's like one of the youngest subscribers, Flatlander team members that we have out there. He just got him a new Flatlander cap last week. Thank you, Michael. Kyson Williamson, Greg Bluda. I don't know. I'm not good at pronouncing everybody's name. Kevin Tabor, John Willingham, John Turner. What up, John? You actually just turned up. You actually just came on, man. Jim, I'm sorry if I mess this up. Howell, I think that's how it's spelled. Ken Tartarus, Mark Lass, Scott Lackey, Manuel Weber, Captain Morgan, Charles Smith, Chance Frady, and Reva Hill. Just some random ones that out there. I wanted to give a shout out to you guys. Next, let's unbox this Bugle tube. So if you guys haven't heard the story about this yet, this is the ELK Bros, Joe Gilia, and a elk hunting legend, I'll call him. I'm not allowed to say who he is, but there are only 3 of these Bugle tubes in the world right now. Okay, it is called the Soloist. You guys will be able to get your hands on these Bugle tubes shortly. I can't wait to use this thing. Joe has shown me he's shown y'all too on the podcast and stuff. And he sent me one because I'm going to the World Elk Calling Championships next month. I'm actually like 3 or 4 weeks away from going to Utah and doing that. So I've got to start using this thing. But first, let's unbox this sucker. See what it sounds like. Here we go. You guys get your questions ready for later on. I'm going to be answering those later. Ooh. You guys see any of this? A couple pieces here. Oh yeah, check this out. Apparently, these were 3D printed. So this is I guess the end chamber. Let's see here. Oh yeah. Mouthpiece. Oh, this thing is sick. Apparently the production on these is started, so I don't know exactly when Joe is going to be releasing these to everybody, but y'all should be able to get your hands on them here pretty soon. Look at that. Kind of old school, kind of new. It's like the old, back in the day, you hear about the guys that were using just the vacuum cleaner hoses and stuff like that. Very similar, but it's got this, I'm gonna call it like an echo chamber or sound chamber. I'm sure Joe's gonna be mad at me because I don't know what it's called. Let's give this sucker a rip. I don't want to blow y'all's eardrums out. Sounds pretty good. I'm gonna have to do some playing with that. What do y'all think? Anybody out there? Can you guys hear that? Does it sound okay? I can't tell. I might have blown that reed out. That's super. It's weird. I don't know. Like it's definitely more muffled than mine and Kyle's style, but I think that's just because it's projecting it out away from me a little bit more. I think it sounds pretty good. A lot of volume in that one. Who's asking something? Fletch, who's that made by? It's made by the Elk Bros. Joe Gilia with the Elk Bros podcast. He designed this. Him and everybody knows the guy. I can't tell you who it is because he wants to, I'm pretty sure he wants to kind of keep it a secret here for a little while, just so there's no, I don't know. Joe just asked me not to say who it is, but there's only 3 of these out there. He's going to call this the Soloist. And I love this because I don't know if y'all have watched any of the videos where me and Kyle are hunting, but I'm always turning and blowing my bugle or my cow call or something like that behind me. And I love this because I can fasten this thing to my backpack, you guys, and put it kind of underneath my arm. Let me show you here. I can kind of put it underneath my arm and face it back behind me and then rip a bugle backwards without having to keep my, take my eyes off of the situation. When that bull's coming in, especially whenever I'm solo calling, I'm always keeping an eye out, pretty much a 180 around me and casting my calls behind me so that bull doesn't lock down directly on my location. That's why I like this setup. I'll probably be calling or carrying both of these with me. The volume off of our mine and Kyle's bugle tube is quite a bit more than this, but whenever it gets into that close quarters, I don't necessarily need to be louder than the bull. I just need to be able to redirect that sound behind me. Sounds good. The lip ball on it's great. Pretty cool. I can't wait till they come out. I'm definitely gonna buy me one, even though I've got this. I think it's super awesome that that Joe sent this to me. All right, moving on. I got some key points that before we get into the Q&A, I want to go over a few things with you guys. I don't know how many of y'all are planning to elk hunt this year, but these are things that I think that you need to keep in mind. Regardless of if you have a partner, if you don't have a partner, if you're going by yourself, these are just some things that I want you to be thinking about or working on as season is coming up. For some of us, our season starts September 2nd in Colorado. Some of y'all start even before that. In Oregon, I think they're starting like on the 26th of August. So that's coming up quick, y'all. And I want to make sure that you're completely prepared to go out there and be successful. For those of y'all that have never done an elk hunt, regardless of whatever style that you're going to have or whatever style hunt you're going to do, whether it be backpack out of your truck, if you're going to have an outfitter pack you in, whatever it is, there's a lot of stuff that you need to be cognitive of whenever you're out there, right? And I think one of the main things is knowing your boundaries, okay? I've been talking to a bunch of y'all that are like, they're asking questions and about units and scouting and, where should I go and this and that. And I don't want y'all to get so hung up on, what unit, right? Most of all the units that are OTC, you can do your homework, you can get on YouTube, and you can actually punch in the unit in Colorado or wherever you're going to hunt, and you can probably pull up videos that will give you a ton of information. Colorado specifically does a great job with their biologists that are taking care of that unit, and they know the unit, and they have a great little detailed video on every single unit about the elk herd there, the deer herd there, and different pressures or different things that you can learn about the unit just by punching in that unit in either Google or YouTube. So I recommend to do that, okay? And whenever I say know your boundaries, y'all, don't go so far and don't go so deep to where you end up killing something and then you can't get that meat out without some of it spoiling, okay? If you're with a team of, it doesn't matter how many people, right? You got to know that boundary. If you've got 3 or 4 guys that are going with you, then you know that you can probably pack a bull out within 12 hours. Most cases, 12 hours is pretty realistic. Kyle and I packed my bull out a couple years ago, and it took us, we were 6 miles from the truck, and it took us 9 hours, y'all. 9 hours straight of just hustling and trying to get to the truck as much as possible. So know your boundaries in that manner. Like, am I to the point to where if I kill something right now, do I think I can get the meat back to the truck and on ice within a timely manner without something spoiling? That's the whole reason that we're really out there. I don't know too many people that are out there to trophy hunt or anything like that. Granted, there are some guys that draw some great tags, but at the same time, the meat is what's most important. You know, that head is going to be fine by itself out there for many days, and you don't have to worry about that. But the meat is, you have to get it taken care of very fast. So know that boundary and know how far you think you can push yourself. And, you know, when you have that 80 or 90 pound pack on, you got to know, am I going to be able to go over this ridge and the next one and then back all the way down and get to the truck and then back out here to be able to get my meat? You know what I mean? So keep that in mind and think about that also whenever you're scouting for an area. Set a limit. Like, I'm not going to go any further than 3 miles. And then if you hear a bugle or whatever, say, okay, I'll give it 1 more mile or something like that. Okay. The next key point that I want to bring up for you guys is make sure you are efficient with all of your equipment. Okay. And I'm not just talking about shooting your bow or, really even, shooting your bow or anything like that. I'm talking about the stuff that you're going to be using to live with out there, right? Make sure that you have your pack packed and it's efficiently packed to where when you get into it, you know where all of your stuff is. If all of a sudden that rainstorm pops up, if you're going to Colorado, most of the times in September, we can almost bet or set our watch to the thunderstorms in the afternoons and the evenings. Almost every day we get a 30-minute rainstorm all the time. So be prepared for that and make sure that you are efficient in getting your pack covered up and getting rain gear on and stuff like that. Not only that, what happens if it happens to rain for several hours and you're having to set up camp in the freaking rain, right? You've already made it so far and then you can't make it back to the truck because it's raining. You've got to set up camp. So know how to set up your equipment, however you're going to camp, if it's going to be a tent, if it's going to be a hammock, your tarp, all that stuff. Know what you're doing so that you don't want to get out there and it be your first damn time setting up all your stuff and you're scrambling to try to get everything put together efficiently. That's what I mean by being efficient, you know? Not just that, like when you kill a bull, make sure you have your kill kit ready. Make sure you have your knife, a sharpener if you think that the knife isn't going to make it through, or if you use the replaceable blade knives, make sure all that is set up in your kill kit, okay? Not only that, in your kill kit, you need to have a marker or a pen to fill out your tag. Make sure you look up the regulations and all that so that you're placing the tag on the animal correctly. I've done that a couple of times, and luckily the warden didn't catch me, but I had awesome dudes like you say, hey man, don't be putting your tag on the antler anymore. You know, be efficient with everything that comes about on this hunt, not just your gear, but with the way you're going to be, you know, with, I guess what I'm trying to say is any and everything that is going to help you through your hunt, you need to know how to use it, and don't wait until you're already out there to try something new. Okay. I consider right now is the time for finding a unit, it should be over. You guys should know what unit you're going to go hunt. And now, from now until the time that you leave for your trip, I think that you need to be finding areas that you are going to key in on. Excuse me. You need to have plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D. I think you need to have 4 different spots picked out. And you need to have like your favorite spot where you think you're going to go in the unit that you have already chosen. And you need to start really doing the scouting on that unit and get specific with where you're going to go. Start trying to measure the distances and, figure out, the elevations that you're going to go and certain water features. You got to have water. Try to figure out, okay, there's a clearing right here. This is going to get me a good start on seeing what sign is there. If the elk have been feeding out there at night, just have 4 places that you want to hunt, and keep in mind you're looking for a feeding area, you're looking for bedding areas, and you're looking for water. That's the things that they need. North facing slopes for the bedding areas, and most of the meadows and parks and stuff like that they're going to be feeding in, you can spot from Google Earth or from Onyx or Base Map or whatever it is that you're using, right? So make sure that you're starting to line all that stuff up. So 1, you should already have your unit picked out. If you don't, you should be closing in on what unit you're wanting to hunt within the next week or so. And then you need to start dissecting that unit apart, like where you're going to park the truck. If you're going to go to a trailhead, great. Make sure that you're going to be able to get to that trailhead, that you're not going to require like 4-wheel drive or a rock crawler to get there. Because a lot of times it might say that there's a road there, y'all, and there's been a ton of times I've gotten to an area and my big truck can't make it up because it's like seriously like rock crawling to get up there. So then I have to figure out a different plan, so think about that. If that wiped out plan A right there, right off the bat, I can't even get to it, then you immediately need to start thinking about plan B. I usually have between 4 and 6 areas in a unit that I go hunt. And most of the times we burn through 2 to 3 of those areas. And a lot of times my plan C is where we end up killing the bull or end up having a good encounter, or, it's just kind of a area that I was just like, okay, this looks like a good spot. It's far enough away from a trail, whatever it might be. So you need to start planning that stuff out. What areas you're gonna go hit. Next thing, if you're gonna be going during archery season, even early rifle season, you guys have to learn. There's a few calls that you have to learn, okay? And this is just me because I'm a caller. I like to be able to communicate with the elk. It makes covering ground and finding elk so much easier whenever you can call, okay? For those of y'all that haven't tried to bugle or use a mouth reed or something like that, I would recommend getting you a few of them right now. I would go ahead and buy like 5 or 6 of them, okay? I use the Phelps game calls, the amp reeds. Y'all, I seriously, like, this is just what I have right now. This is what I purchased the other day. This is just for me to go to the World Elk Calling Championships. There's like 11 reeds right here, okay? I can blow through reeds so fast. Like this little black one, I just pulled it out of the case a minute ago. It's more of, I like to cow call with this more than I do bugle because it's a little bit lighter latex. But for y'all that are learning, this is a great reed. It's pretty easy to use. You just have to get used to it fitting in your mouth. Make sure there's no air coming by. And if you're just now learning, real quick, y'all, like Joe Gilia, I learned this from him. He said, wish you can make a noise, okay? If you can do that, you can start to make those noises, and then you can hone it in from now. You still have a couple months to practice. get it placed in there. Wish, wish, wish. You hear that? Wish, wish, wish. So simple. Once you start to get that wish, and then you see where the tongue is placed, then it's gonna be like, aha. And then once you do your wish, then drop that jaw away to get your cow sounds, your cow mew, okay? Wish. Wish. That'll get you used to getting your tongue where it needs to go, okay? It takes tons of practice, y'all. It's not something that you're just gonna be able to toss in there. Maybe some of y'all that do some turkey calling and stuff like that, you kind of got the gist of how these reeds work, but really it's gonna take you spending a lot of time with it. Put you not five, maybe a couple, 3 of them in the pickup with you, driving back and forth to work. Start ripping bugles, start doing cow calls, start, doing as many noises as you can that are elk noises with these reeds, and it becomes muscle memory. Just like pulling your bow back and shooting it all the time, you become like where you can just pop this thing in your mouth and immediately start making elk noises without trying to. When the situation arises and you have that elk bugle back at you and you're like, holy shit, that thing something just bugled at me, right? And then you get all flustered. Well, if you didn't have enough practice, you can screw up and make a real retarded sounding noise real quick out of one of these calls if you don't practice. So the 3 calls you need to know. This is what I think, okay, for beginners. At the minimum, these are the 3 calls that you need to know. First is the locate bugle. Everybody's heard it. That's my locate bugle. I'll rip that thing off, sit there. If you get a response, then you got to start figuring it out, okay? But the locate bugle is going to get you that response and at least pinpoint where that bull is, okay? The best time, I think, y'all, if you're really trying to locate elk or if you're having a hard time to locate elk, get up about 3 o'clock in the morning, get out there, get up on a high point and bugle into some of those areas that you think they're going to be feeding in, some of the meadows and parks. And more times than none, I'll usually get a response first thing in the morning. Like, it's got to be before daylight. Don't wait till daylight because most of the times they're already in transition, okay? So locate bugle. Make sure you nail that. That is so important. Next thing is a cow mew. Just so that you can have another means of communicating, okay? If y'all are needing to, if you don't already have the Elk Nut app, you should go download it right now. I think it's $10. It will tell you every single call that elk make, and you can hit the play button on it, listen to that sound, and then you can turn around and hit the record button and record yourself doing the call. And if it doesn't sound exactly like the call, the live elk, or the call that Paul Medell does, then you need some practice. And then you can start building your scenarios in what you are actually saying to that bull whenever the time comes, okay? So a cow mew is the next thing you need to learn. It's real simple. Fletch, it's the Elk Nut app, okay? Elk Nut. It's $10. He will tell you the scenario. He will give you, okay, let's say you hear a bull chuckle, okay? he will tell you what to say to that bull that chuckles, because not only that, he'll try to, in his terms, tell you what that chuckle means, right? So then you can kind of understand that language. If he growls at you and just like a real short kind of nasty bugle, then that's something else. And Paul goes through this in detail, y'all. I've had this app since it was brand new. Other than listening to guys call on YouTube and stuff like that, I've been listening to Paul Medell for, man, it's got to be close to 10 years, y'all. 9 years, something like that, okay? I highly recommend that. Okay, the last call I think you need to learn, okay? This is the most important call, I believe, regardless if you don't know how to chuckle, if you don't know how to locate bugle, if you don't know how to cow mew, at least know this, guys, okay? When that bull, if say you're marching through the woods, okay, and all of a sudden you jump elk, regardless, okay? The first thing that I do, it doesn't matter what elk it is. I don't care if it's a bear and I think it's an elk, I will do this noise immediately, because immediately it stops them in their tracks, and then I can try to recover the situation, okay? Or if I've already called that bull in and I'm about to take my shot, this is the call that I use to stop them. Do not, I repeat, do not use a cow call to stop a bull or a cow if you are going to shoot them, okay? Do not. Because next thing you know, because just like Paul Medell says, you're not asking them to do anything with a cow mew. This doesn't ask another elk to do anything. I've seen bulls walk right through dudes shooting lanes a million times, y'all. Go look on YouTube. I don't know how many times you can go watch a video, and a dude will cow call and the bull will take 10 more steps before he stops and is like, turns around and looks. And then the situation's already past, gone. You've done screwed up the situation because you don't know how to make this noise, which is the nervous grunt. It specifically asks the elk to show theirself or to stop and basically respond in some way, okay? 2 years ago, we jumped a bull, and I barked at it. I didn't even have the reed in my mouth. I did this. Just whistled at him just like that. With a grunt, kind of a grunt there at the end of it. And he stopped immediately. Guess what happened? I slung an arrow right through him at 20 yards. Bumped him at 20 yards. He took off running. I hit him with the grunt, and he stopped, arrowed him. Matter of fact, it's that bull right there in that picture right there. Y'all, it stops them on a dime. And then next thing you know, a lot of times I've had them back up and look back over at me, and they were in the middle of blowing out, okay? Even if the herd go ahead and blows out and you can hear them running, you should still blow that call at them, because that just shows them that, hey, there's an elk up there. I think whatever spooked us was an elk, right? This is just my thoughts of what an elk might think. And then I might give it a little bit, and if they continue to kind of move off, or maybe they might calm down a little bit, then I'll hit them with that cow mew or the regathering buzz, the contact buzz, asking everybody to come back. Everything's okay, okay? This is getting into a whole nother deal, but contact buzz is, I think you should probably learn it too. It's huge. And if you get a cow or something like that to respond, just keep giving it to them. Keep giving it to them. I've had bulls go absolutely nuts after giving that call to them. Mine and Kyle's bull both last year died because of that contact buzz. I'll tell you that right now. All right, I'm going to go back and look through some of the comments here and see if anybody posted up any questions. If you guys do have questions, now is a good time to start asking them, and then we can start going through them. What up, everybody? There's like 15 of you guys. Please leave me a comment. That way I know who all kind of tuned in, and I can give you a shout out. What'd y'all think about the Bugle tube also? This thing, the Soloist, I can't wait to get this thing out in front of a bull and get it ripping. Not only that, I can't wait to get it to the elk calling championships in Utah. All right, back to the questions. Fletch says, have you ever thought about trying to hunt Rosies here in Oregon? Yes, sir. Matter of fact, I was actually planning to go out with my buddy. I don't know if any of y'all watch Alone on the History Channel, but my buddy Joel from season 7, I went out there and hunted with Joel in Oregon last year, and amazing country. We were actually out east. I wanted to go this year and go hunt Roosevelt's with Joel. Unfortunately, the schedule is so crazy with Hunt Wars and the Elk Bros hunt that we're going on in Colorado. I'm going to have to postpone going to hunt Rosie's either next year or the year after that, but it is definitely on the list to go do. Fletch said, I've been hunting elk for almost 30 years now. That's awesome, dude. How many bulls have you harvested, Fletch? I'm a little curious. And have they all been in Oregon? Watchman70, he says, I'm here. What up, dude? John Turner said the Bugle tube is a great idea. Can I borrow it? I don't think so. If you guys want, I can make a video on how Kyle and I made our Bugle tube. Fish Trap Hunter, he says, great information and thanks. Can you tell me what model, Ventum 30 or 33? Question mark. Why did you choose the Ventum? First of all, I chose the Ventum because, y'all, I am a die-hard Hoyt fan. I've been shooting Hoyt for a long, long time. Second, I haven't purchased a new bow since the Factor came out in 2014. That was the last bow that I purchased. And really, I was waiting for Hoyt to come out with something new, something special. And when the Ventum came out, it was a completely new design. They completely reworked the whole bow. And from what I was hearing from my bow tech and from Hoyt themselves, that everything that was changing about it and how quiet that Ventum was, it sold me on it before I ever went to go shoot it. Then I went to go shoot it, and it's lights out, y'all. The draw cycle on it's so smooth, and it shot great right off the bat. What up, Chad? It shot great right off the bat. So I decided, I was like, you know what? I'm probably not going to buy another bow for quite a long time. So I'm going to go ahead and order this one. So I ordered the 33. I'm 6'4". I've got a pretty good wingspan on me. I shoot a 29.5-inch Aero. I'm right about I'm like a 30.5 to 31-inch draw. I take a little bit of that out with my D-loop and a little bit of that out with my release, which keeps me in that 29 to 29.5-inch Aero setup. Yeah, Aeroed Life. I heard about the fire bans in Colorado already. I think that's a good thing, man. I don't typically like to have a fire unless we're just soaking wet or covered up with snow. I did talk to Kyle yesterday, and he said that they have been getting some pretty good rains up there. So keep your fingers crossed, y'all. I hope everybody out west gets tons of rain here in the next couple months, just because camping, hunting season's coming up, and The last thing we want is for a bunch of us to be displaced because somebody was ignorant and didn't take care of their fire properly, or or they started a fire when they shouldn't have. I don't ever really like to have a fire at all. Fire scares the crap out of me, and I just don't want to be that guy. Let's go back up out here. So Fish Trap Hunter, to answer your question about the Ventum, dude, go shoot the bow. Hopefully they have a 30 and a 33 that you can shoot. The string angle is a little bit less on the 33. I actually shot both of them. I liked them both, to be honest with you. But I wanted an 80 pound, and I wanted it to be a mega thumper, so I went with the 33. Ryan in Kansas said, how many different states do you plan on elk hunting in this year? So me personally, I will only have a tag in Colorado. I wanted to try to hit Colorado and Oregon, but unfortunately my schedule with Hunt Wars kind of conflicts on a bunch of the season. I'm kind of taking, I'm only going to have 5 days to hunt elk this season for myself. I'm going for 7 days with the Elk Bros in Colorado, and then I'm going to New Mexico with Hunt Wars. We're going to be in, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the unit. I can't tell you guys the unit yet. I don't know if any of that information's out, but it is going to be, it's a premier unit. I do know that. I do know the unit, and unfortunately, I won't be able to hunt any time there. I'm just going to be there coaching. So it's just going to be Oregon, or not Oregon. It's just going to be Colorado for me this year for elk. But deer, on the other hand, where's my wife at? I don't know where my wife's at. Deer, man, I want to go as many places as I possibly can. I do want to hunt Oklahoma and Arizona again this year, just because I had so much fun. And man, Coues deer, if you guys haven't ever shot or hunted Coues deer, I highly recommend it. It's getting a little tight on tags down there. They are starting to, with this drought stuff, they've had, I don't know if it's all because of the drought, but they've kind of cut the tags back on some of the over-the-counter stuff, but there are plenty of opportunities out there for sure. George said I started using the Elk Nut app last week. It has made a huge difference. George, it makes a giant difference. When you can really understand, like, okay, that bull didn't necessarily, or he sounds like he's pissed off, right? So that means that you can be a little more pissed off, or you can change or tailor your calling to the response that a bull gives you, or even a cow, whatever it might be that you're going after. The Elk Nut app helps a ton. Any more questions, you guys? BWB said, I went with the RX5 Ultra. The balance of the bow felt better for me than the Ventum 33. Yeah, man, I'm just not. I haven't been sold on the carbon really. I beat the absolute crap out of my bow, y'all. Between dragging it through brush and all this, it eventually becomes, I have paint missing and stuff like that. So I'm just worried that I'm a little too aggressive moving through the woods and especially the elk woods to take a carbon bow up there with me. I've always shot aluminum, and the extra pound or whatever, pound or two, I guess, really, doesn't really weigh on me that much. So I would rather, dude, I've taken some hard falls in the mountains, and a couple times my bow has broke my fall, and I'm almost positive if I would have had a carbon bow, something would have been cracked or broke or something like that for sure. Chad Jones. Oh, he's talking to Fletch. John Jones said, starting high in the mornings. What do you do until thermals switch? I've always started low with thermals. Tried starting high in Idaho last fall, was busted first thing. You said you rather start high. Yes. So it really depends. Okay. If I have an idea of where the elk are coming from, John, then I start high. And a lot of times I'll back off or I'll get, down the ridge so that I'm not directly above or directly below. Okay. I always try to approach the elk at the same level. That way it does not matter if the wind or the thermals are blowing up or down. Okay. A lot of times I'll make a giant circle. Like if I have elk below me and I can tell that they're below me and they're responding to me or whatever, a lot of times I will back out. If the thermals are blowing down first thing in the morning, I'll back out and get around and down to either below their level a little bit to where I can follow them up to their bed, or I just hang out side hill from them so that my wind doesn't ever come in contact with them or with whatever direction they're coming up. I don't ever want to cross the trail or the path that they're coming up, right? Does that make sense? I like to start high because it's always easier to move down the mountain rather than try to cover ground to get up in front of the elk. That's my thoughts on it anyways. I do like to start high. Fletcher, I live a mile from the Bowtech manufacturing plant. I stay with the locals. Right on, dude. Support your locals. Fish Trap Hunter says, any thoughts on optics? Do you use your binoculars all the time, like spot and stalk, or do you get in the black timber and hunt through calling as you go? So this year, I always carry binoculars with me. I use a 12 power. I use 12 by 50s. That's just what I carry all the time. I only have one set of the Vortex Diamondbacks. That being said, I am leaning more towards not using my binoculars at all. I'm thinking about completely going away from the chest harness and going with just my rangefinder on my hip belt of my backpack. Because, man, a lot of times we don't ever use our binoculars unless we're really just trying to look through some thick stuff. We don't normally do the spot and stalk deal. I've never had an opportunity to where I can spot and stalk an elk. Most of the times I've got them fired up, or I've got an elk bugling or something like that to where I've got them pinpointed and I know where they're at. And most of the times when we call elk, y'all, we are in such thick country. If it's not thick, then I don't really like to try to call to them. I like to try to find somewhere where it's 20 to 30 to 40 yards max before I can ever see that elk. Because then when they finally can see me, then I can see them, and they're not necessarily looking for, or they are looking for an elk, right? And when they come in search for that other elk, when they finally get to the spot where that elk should be, I'm already there with my bow drawn back. So I'm thinking this year I'm not going to do the binocular thing for the elk hunt, because to me, we're not ever in wide open enough country to use binoculars, other than being able to like glass over to a mountaintop and see elk that are up above tree line. We've done that several times, but more than likely we end up running into another elk before we ever decide to go way up on tree line or something like that. So just to cut weight this year, I think I'm going to do away with the binoculars. So Chad Jones says, what's the spine of your Aero setup and what broadheads do you use? So I'm using a 260 spine. I'm shooting 80 pounds at 290 feet per second, y'all. My total Aero weight is 595 grains. I'm using a 150 grain. Currently, I'm shooting the Grim Reapers. They're 2.5 inch cut. That's my hog hunting setup. That's my deer hunting setup. But whenever I hunt elk, I go to a fixed blade. I've been shooting a lot of pigs with these Grim Reapers, and I've broke a couple of blades off just by shooting them straight through their shoulder. So I don't trust a mechanical whenever it comes to elk. The Iron Will is just, I don't have anything bad to say about them whatsoever. They fly really, really good. They're devastating to anything that hits. They're extremely sharp, and I seem to blow through anything that I hit with them. So 260 spine, Chad. Yes, sir. While Lightning, I like to say hi as well too, brother. John Jones, perfect. Thanks. Y'all, do you have any more questions? Any calls, anything like that? Fletch said, I want to do a DIY Colorado archery in a couple of years. Any suggestions? Yeah, dude, I say go do it. That's what I say. If you can afford to go out of state, I don't care what hunt you're doing. I recommend it 100%. That's primarily all I do now is hunt out of state. I don't hunt a whole lot here in Texas anymore, just because I am applying for certain areas, but until I get drawn for them, there's only just a couple of areas that I'll go hunt public land in Texas, and that's if I've got a real bad itch to go deer hunt. I say anybody and everybody should go to elk hunt somewhere, regardless of the state, for sure. I'm 54 and would be a dream to do that hunt. Dude, I say I go do it, man. I don't care what age anybody is. I say if you think you can pack meat, and you have somebody to go with you, or if you just think you're a badass, I'm probably going to be hunting elk as long as I possibly can. I don't care if there's somebody going with me or not. I will absolutely do whatever it takes to hunt as long as I can. And for me, every time that I hunt elk, it's out of state. So I think everybody should do it. And that's another thing, there's so many guys that are out there that dream of doing these hunts, y'all. And this brings up a good point, okay? For all of y'all that think that you cannot do it or you can't afford it or whatever the stupid excuse is that you think you cannot go elk hunting, I think is just total BS. Total BS. Like, I guarantee you there's times that you go into the convenience store that you spend $2 on a pop, or you spend however much. I tried to explain this to a buddy of mine the other day. I'm like, dude, if you just didn't buy so much beer during the week and kept your beer drinking to the end of the week or on the weekend, dude, you would have enough money to go elk hunting anywhere. You could afford to go pay $1,200 for a tag in Montana and drive up there plus buy all your gear, I mean, if you guys, any of you guys that eat fast food or anything like that, I mean, you're talking about, or eat out for lunch, right? You're talking about a minimum of, I say, $15 a day or a meal to go eat out somewhere, fast food or something like that. Y'all, buy a loaf of bread, take you some damn lunch, and you just saved $15 that one day a week. You add that up times 52 weeks. I mean, you're definitely able to pay for tag. You know what I mean? The tags in Colorado are $700. If you just skimped on that one thing, don't buy yourself an ice cream that day or whatever it might be, and then take that money and put it in a jar. I used to have a jar that said elk savings account or elk tag fund, I think it was. And every time I had a little bit of spare cash, I would drop it in that bucket, y'all. And it would either buy me a tag or it'd buy me some Mountain House or some boots or whatever it might be that I needed for that next year's trip coming up. I've been elk hunting every single year for 7 years. This will be my 8th, right? Yes, 8 years. Okay. And every single time, there's been times where I'm like, man, I just don't know if I'm going to be able to pull this through. But every single time I find something or some way that I can, save a little bit of money here, save a little bit of money there. When you look at driving, for most of it, if you're 12 hours out from Colorado or elk hunting state, then you're looking at spending $300 or $400 in fuel, and then $700 for your tag for Colorado. And then really after that, y'all, you can hunt out of the truck. You don't have to have a high dollar ass backpack or anything like that. You can buy a cheap pack frame from Cabela's or from Amazon, for all that matter, a steel frame pack frame. It doesn't matter, as long as you can haul meat with it. That's what you need to be doing. Buy your tag and your fuel money first, and then start acquiring your gear. Buy used gear or whatever it is. Anybody and everybody, y'all. I don't think there is any excuse. If there's a will, there's a way. If you really want to do this, I never dreamed 8 years ago that I would be going elk hunting every year. Like, it's completely changed my life, 100%. I recommend everybody needs to go do this at least one time, and just make sure that you're prepared physically and mentally. Have that mind game that you will never give up, period. Let me go back up here. How do you run a hammock in September? Sleeping pad for insulation, under sleeping bag, or what? Okay, so this year I've always ran a sleeping pad. Make sure that if you guys are hammock camping, you run a sleeping pad. I use a Big Agnes sleeping bag that has a specific bungee pouch on the bottom of the bag, and it's actually non-insulated. It's a 0 degree Big Agnes Diamond Park sleeping bag. It's down and it has no insulation on the bottom, but it has an area, it has a little sleeve that bungees around the sleeping pad. I've never, not one time this year have I had a problem with it, and it snowed on us for 4 days straight in Colorado. I was actually on the ground then, but in Arizona, it snowed like crazy, and no problems there either using that sleeping bag and sleeping pad combination. If you don't have a sleeping pad with a hammock, you're gonna freeze, regardless of the temperature. I mean, if you're camping at 9 to 10,000 feet, most nights it's into the 30s or 40s. If not, most of the times whenever Kyle and I hunt. Yeah, Fletch, come on down to Texas, man. We got tons of pigs for y'all to hunt. Chad said he saved $780. Whoa, don't talk bad about ice cream. What camera are you using to film your hunts? Will you film with Elk Bros? Yes. Fish Trap Hunter, we're going to be filming every single thing that happens. I'll be filming when I start going scouting here just in 3 or 4 weeks. And then I go to Park City, Utah. All of that will be filmed at the World Elk Calling Championships. I'm going to film at the TAC event. And then whenever we hunt with the Elk Bros, I'm going to be filming everything for me personally. And I'm going to be helping the Elk Bros put together their footage along with calling and helping them close the deal on as many bulls as we can. We have 7 tags to fill for the Elk Bros. So we've got our work cut out for us. If we're able to fill all 7 tags, y'all, it's going to be amazing. I'm so excited to get that deal rolling. And then whenever I do my 5 days of hunting, I'll be filming everything. Every hunt that I do from here on out for the rest of the season will be filmed for sure. Now, the camera that I use, this is going to blow your mind. I use an iPhone 11 Pro. It's the best camera I could find for the money, y'all. It's $1,000 phone, right? It's got 3 different cameras on it. It's got 256 gig of memory. I've been able to film this entire year, and I haven't grabbed a memory card one freaking time. Not only that, the audio is absolutely amazing for it being a phone. I mean, I've had even Joe Giglio's like, dude, what are you filming with? Because the audio is so crisp and the picture is amazing. It shoots in 4K. It's got a decent zoom on it. You know, for bow hunting, it's perfect, y'all. The battery life runs forever. And it's everything. It's my GPS, it's my communication device, it's my camera, it's a flashlight, it's everything. And the battery for me on this new phone, it lasts pretty much all day long. And then I've always got a little battery backup to recharge, and I keep a solar panel with me in my backpack at all times. That's my camera setup. I'm not going to change that one bit, because the quality that I get out of that, and not have to change batteries and not have to worry about a memory card being full or blah, 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 you name it, you know. I want to upgrade this to the new iPhone 12 Pro, the 564 gig. That way I can film 2 years worth of content, and it all be right here with, iTunes, and I can transfer it to the computer super easy. For me, man, it's a lifesaver. It's super lightweight. There's nothing bad I can say about it. I can edit anything that I want as I'm out there in the field. Super, super awesome to be able to use the phone. All right, let's go here. The camper on the truck doesn't, yes, sir, it does. White lightning. The camper does condensate a little bit. I'm actually going to be upgrading that here in the next month. I'm going to put some insulation in there. Whenever I was in Arizona, it was brutal, man. With me in there fogging it up, there was several times during the night up in Arizona when it was snowing that I would just get a random ass drop right on my face somewhere, and completely ruin a night's sleep. So after that night, I actually keep a towel right there by me, and anytime that I get up and have to go take a leak, I'll usually wipe down that camper because it does condensate quite a bit. I was actually surprised at how much it did. But I'm hoping that insulation will solve that problem in the truck camper. I'm also going to be adding solar to it, so that's going to be pretty awesome. Y'all got any more questions? We're topping out just past an hour here. I'm going to go back, make sure I didn't miss anybody. Oh man, it's supposed to be 110 tomorrow, Fletch, in Oregon. That's ridiculous. It's definitely hot here. We're actually supposed to get a cold front kind of tomorrow. I was out hunting hogs today on the river, and it was brutal hot. There were a few pigs in the river. Nothing like a couple weeks ago, but I kind of hit it midday hoping they were going to be down in the river, and they weren't. SO Texas says, do you put your phone on a stabilizer device like a gimbal? I don't do a gimbal because it's just another thing to carry around in the woods. I do use a tripod that I'll carry my phone. I'll basically pick up and carry the phone around like this, Emilio. And this camera actually has, on these new iPhone Pros, they have kind of a stabilizing something in the camera to where it stabilizes the footage a lot. If you go back and look at some of my deer hunts where I actually zoom in, and I'm trying to zoom in pretty far out there, you'll notice that it takes just a second and the image clears up and becomes super stable. That's another reason why I liked using the phone, is because it stabilizes, and it takes great footage. I mean, it shoots everything in 4K. Let It Fly said, I missed it. Where are you and Elk Bros hunting? We're going to be hunting in Colorado this year. Nobody got drawn for New Mexico. So we're going to be up in Colorado, OTC with everybody else, man. We're going to be out there grinding it. I can't wait. That's all I've hunted, y'all, is OTC. And that's my favorite. I like the challenge of it. I can't stand the point system. I did put in for a secondary tag this year, but for the most part, it's all been over the counter, do it yourself, all out of a backpack. That's just my style. I like going steep and deep. Yeah, Colorado is awesome hunting out there. B-Dub said Kentucky boy headed to the radio this year. That's good, man. Awesome. Anybody have any more questions about Let It Fly? I said going to Idaho for my second elk hunt. Been slowly going through the Elk Bros base camp program. Dude, I've been going through that also because I'm now an Elk Bros coach. I want to be able to, spit everything out there that Joe has on the base camp. If you guys haven't looked into that, I don't remember what the cost of the elk camp is, the training camp that Joe has there on elkbros.com. But man, he lays it all out on the line. Everything from being able to find elk, what to do when you find elk, everything. Call-in scenarios, and he's adding to it as you go. So, the information that's on there right now, there could be tons more coming. There is tons more coming. I've actually talked to Joe about it, and he's got different, different levels that you'll be able to go tap into as this thing progresses and grows. It's always constantly changing. I actually love the... I've done another elk hunting academy, or I think it's elk hunting college. I don't remember what it's called, the Elk 101 deal. And this is so awesome the way Joe lays it all out there, reads it off to you. And it's like he's sitting there teaching you, just you and him. It's pretty awesome the way he put all that together. Can I use the elk call real quick? Yeah, man. What call do you want to hear? Which one do you want? You want the new soloist or the Flatlander? We're going to try this breed out. It's the Maverick by Phelps. This is Dirk Durham's reed. I like this reed. It's kind of a good one between a cow call and a bugle. Oh. Try to stand back. How'd that sound? Y'all want to hear the Flatlander too? Oh, man. I love it. I can't wait to go blow this thing next to Corey Jacobson. I got to work on my chuckle, though. What do y'all think about my chuckle? Y'all go listen to Corey Jacobson do his chuckle, and then go back and watch this video and tell me what you think about my chuckle. I need y'all to start I need y'all to tell me if I'm good enough to go to this damn elk calling championship in Utah that I've already signed up for. Try the new soloist. Sound like a woman screaming at the top of Enchanted Rock. Oh man, that was hilarious. Y'all, those of y'all that weren't able to come to the Flatlander kind of meet and greet thing that I did out in Enchanted Rock, I was up there in Enchanted Rock just ripping bugles up there at the top of that thing. People were looking around like, what in the hell is that noise? Not many people from Texas know what the hell an elk bugle is. And whenever I started ripping it, this lady was like, I thought some lady was over there screaming. I'm liking this. I wonder if it glunks good. Not bad. I like this soloist tube. This is going to be cool. I've got a cool little setup that I actually made. I don't even know if I should show this. Somebody's liable to steal this little idea here. I call this a call collector. It's basically a strap, right? Velcro strap. This is actually all leather. This is a 15-pound magnet right here that I sewed into this little pouch. So I also have another one of these that connects to my backpack. And man, it sure makes being able to keep track of your bugle tube very, very simple. And I think I can attach this thing to like this and then be able to clip it on to my backpack back here and it'll just hang there. It's pretty slick little setup. And then I can just grab this soloist tube, reach up here. Woo! Yeah, that's gonna work perfect. Can't wait. I'm so fired up for elk season. Y'all have no idea. Who else? Anybody else got some questions? B-Dub said, my wife makes me wait until she leaves so I can practice. My wife's in there watching this right now while I practice. She probably doesn't like it much. Idea officially stolen. Yeah, man. Do what you got to do. Know that it's published on YouTube. That's my trademark there. Hopefully, maybe you'll be able to buy those one day on flatlander.com or something. What else? You guys have any backpacking questions, scouting, anything? Lay it all out there. Anybody? White Lightning said the chuckle. I think I laid out a few chuckles. What happened to my reed? I sure appreciate you guys showing up tonight. Had a pretty good little crowd off and on. Practice, practice, practice. taking the Watchman. I'm taking the Exo Mountain Gear, the 6400. Exo actually just sent me, I say just about a month ago, Exo Mountain Gear sent me a 6400 bag in trade that I do a review for that bag. So I've actually been filming that review throughout this past month. I took the bag out again today just as like a day pack. And that thing is super awesome. I like it so much better than the 4800. It's hands down my favorite pack for sure. Fletch said I will have in a couple years. What maps do you use for scouting? Jim said. Jim, I use several different maps. I will use, of course, Google Earth to try to get an idea of a route. You know, it doesn't ever do it justice, but I'll use Google Earth, and then on me, what I use all the time is Onyx Maps. I've been with Onyx for, I don't know, forever, man. That's always been, it's always worked great for me. And I like being able to download those maps. But I will also take screenshots of Google Earth. So if I'm going into it, just bit my tongue. If I'm going into an area and I think there's a bench in a certain spot, a lot of times you can't see that detail on Onyx Maps. But on Google Earth, you can really hone in on that detail, and you can pick out those benches sometimes on the north slopes. So I will take a screenshot of it and save it to my phone so that whenever I get to the area, if I don't have service, I can always go back and zoom in and look at that picture. That way I can really see a detailed look of that, you know, north-facing slope that I took a picture of, so that whenever I'm there on Onyx, I can always, you know, it's not the most detailed Onyx is, but it gets you by. And then by having those couple of pictures of that landscape really helps a lot when you're out there trying to navigate. Yes, sir, Onyx is great for sure. What supplies extra do you take for the truck? I usually have about 15 gallons of water. I always have like a shovel. I always have a chainsaw in there with extra fuel. I always have tools so that if I have to repair something out there, I keep an extra bow in the truck, an extra release usually in my pack. Man, I keep all kind of crap in my truck, dude. Go back and look at the video where I built that camper and the truck drawers. I have so much room. I have one whole side of the truck. I call it the pantry. It's completely sealed up, and that's where I keep all of my food and my cooking stuff and any of my snacks and all that stuff. It's just right there, easy for me to grab out of the side of the camper. What else? I'll usually keep an extra pair of boots and stuff like that. This year I am taking a dirt bike because we're going to be in an area that has lots of four-wheeler trails and stuff. So that's going to be new to me. I've never been in an elk hunting area or an elk hunting unit that has four-wheeler trails and stuff like that around. So that's going to be new to me. I take that back. We have had one, but it was very, very minimal trails, and it was rough as shit where people couldn't really get up and down those trails with ATVs much. Yes, sir. Jacking and chainsaw is definitely number one. What else? Do you prefer to hunt with a partner more than two people, or solo, and why? Fish Trap Hunter says. So I used to, before me and Kyle really started hunting together, I used to hunt solo all the time. There was a couple years in there that I went like 28 days by myself, and I was successful, but it was very, very difficult because elk can pinpoint where you are. I'm telling you, they can hear you make a call from a half a mile away, and they will literally walk right up within 10 feet of where you are standing. I mean, they are that precise. They can hone in on exactly where you're at. So when you're solo, a lot of times I would make a call, like say I had a bull engaged, right? And I'm trying to call him in, but at the same time, I don't want him to be able to, because he's going to come look exactly where I make that call. That's where this bugle tube is going to come in so handy, okay? If I ever hunt alone again, I have to have this, because then I can direct that call back behind me, and that elk isn't going to pinpoint my location right here. But I recommend everybody to go hunt with a partner, y'all. It is friggin' brutal when you're out there by yourself. For one, the mind games that you play with yourself is not even funny. You got to make sure that you are 100%, and your mental strength has got to be above and beyond your physical strength, okay? Because you're going to try to talk yourself out of it. You're going to try to talk yourself to go back to town. So I always recommend have a partner there that has that never give up attitude, and just always keep pushing, you know. And a lot of times when you're solo, you can't necessarily have somebody to lean on, you know. You've got to give yourself those pep talks and stuff. That being said, I do enjoy hunting alone a lot. Most of all my deer hunting is solo, and I like to. The reason I like to go solo is because I don't have to ask any questions about anything. I don't have to ask what somebody else wants to do or go, or if it's their turn to shoot or whatever it is. You know what I mean? That's the part that I like about going solo. I'm kind of stingy like that. But at the same time, if I do have a partner with me, a lot of times, like with Kyle, I want him to kill his bull first so that I have the whole rest of the season to go screw around and try to kill my bull. Not only that, when you get ready to start packing that bull out, you're going to thank God that you have that partner with you. But people do it solo all the time. It's definitely a lot of fun, but anytime you can have somebody, the camaraderie of having a partner and all that is just, it's a blast. Me and Kyle have a great time. Any more questions, y'all, before we shut this thing down? We're sitting at like 1 hour and 22 minutes. Can't tell you how much I appreciate y'all. If anybody has any more questions, anybody that's watching this live footage later on, if you're seeing this after the fact, you guys can email me any of your questions at flatlanderhunt@yahoo.com. We also still have, we have plenty of hats. If you guys want to order a hat, you're looking at $25 plus $5 for shipping. That's everybody for the lower 48. I can ship you guys out a hat for $30. I got one right here. We have the black, and then we have the gray. So take your pick. All the proceeds go to buying elk and deer tags. Really appreciate you guys, man. Great turnout. I think there was a lot of people come in. I hope this information helps you guys. For those of y'all that are going elk hunting this year, just remember that at any minute, your hunt can change and you can be successful on the last few seconds or last hour of the day, okay? Hunt until dark every time. Don't start going back to the truck or camp until you have gone past the shooting light, okay? That's all that I can tell you guys. Never give up. Practice on your calling. Make sure your legs are strong. Make sure your mental toughness is strong. And good luck, y'all. I'm sure I'll probably, if y'all want to do another one of these here, let's do another one. I say next month is going to be pretty busy for me. So let's try for August, maybe the first or second week in August. Let's get back together on this live stream and answer some more questions and go over some more tactics and stuff like that. And if, you guys let me know what y'all want. I can break down the backpack. I can tear it all apart right here on the floor and show y'all all the different equipment and stuff like that I use and answer any questions on any of that stuff. Appreciate it. And y'all have a great weekend and stay cool out there. It's definitely hot here in Texas. I know that. Peace. See ya.